and welcome to the Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. I'm your host, Vidas Pinkevičius. Welcome to Secrets of Organ Playing podcast number 92. This is Sunday, April 30th, 2017. And today let's talk about how blogging changed my life, specifically as an organist. You know, I'm an organist, and 5 years ago I started to blog. And during this training I will teach you all the things that blogging experience has taught me, specifically how improved my life as an organist, how I get more opportunities for organ recitals, all those things that really is about constant showing up in people's email inbox and providing valuable insights, helpful advice and inspiration in any area that you think of. So let's go to the show and find out what blogging has done for me and what can it do for you. If you are an organist, you do not want to miss this training. 5 years from now, it will be so boring, so simple advice that everybody else will be doing the same things. But right now, I'm almost 100% sure that it's complete opposite of what you're doing with your organist career. Hello, this is Vidas Pinkevičius, and I'm so excited to be sharing in a moment these my experiences about what blogging did for me over the 5 years I keep blogging. So thank you so much for joining me, and welcome to the show. I started blogging at the end of 2011, and before I did that, I didn't even know what blogging is. So basically, I was only looking for the way to start empowering myself, start start sharing my ideas with the world, with the hope that those ideas will help other people. And so I decided to start writing articles and post them online. Specifically, I decided to do this in organ playing niche because I'm an organist and know how to teach people on how to play the organ. So I started writing short 400 or 500 articles, basically about various basic skills and ideas, how to sit on the organ bench, how to basically depress the keys correctly, how to play the pedals, what is an organ registration, those things. And basically started writing a few articles a day and posting them online into the online article directory, which is called easinarticles.com. It's still the largest article directory online, and it's still very powerful. But I was so aggressive with this and wrote several articles a day, so that even after a short few months, I became the top author in the music instruction category. So this was really exciting fact for me. Thank you, Lucrezia, for watching. Thank you, Gabriel, for watching this webinar. I'm going to share with you all my experience in blogging, so just keep with me. And so I was doing this for a number of months with Easy Articles before I even started my blog. So as I was posting the articles online and starting helping people, I started communicating with my subscribers, email subscribers, and started helping them overcome their problems and help them to achieve their goals in various areas of organ playing. So, for example, if somebody wanted to learn to play the pedals, I could help them with my writing. Or if somebody was struggling with sight reading, I could do that the same with providing helpful techniques and tips and plans how to master sight reading in a short number of months. And this was really helpful where people started responding from all over the world. And as I was noticing, nobody else was doing this online. Basically, there were a few organ music-related blogs where people could share news about organists and organs and organ-related stuff, but nobody was really teaching. A few people had personal blogs about their organist experiences, but nobody of them thought about solving people's problems. You see, when people look online for information, they have a problem, and somebody has to try to help them solve the problem and help them reach their goals, you see. So I was doing that for a number of months in 2011 and into the 2012 too. But then I kind of felt a little bit hesitant into working too much on the Eason Articles platform, because I would post my best stuff on other people's platform, right? In the platform that I can't really control. So I posted, grabbed the content of my articles and started really creating a blog, daily blog. At first I posted like 23 blog posts on December 23rd, basically on Christmas Day, and then started writing one post a day. And at that time, people started to respond and really comment, and I invited them to take a mini course with me. You see how they are really basically can learn to play any organ piece that they want. It was really powerful. I created a video, 1 hour long video lecture, and with specific example, which was really, really helpful. I sit down on the organ bench and demonstrated how you can master Ich rufe zu dir by Johann Sebastian Bach, applying my practice techniques in this hour, short hour. You know, it's not a very difficult piece, but for beginners, it's a challenge. And I wanted to help people as soon as possible, and so that they would really grab the best tips, the best and most efficient practice techniques, so that they could apply to other pieces and basically become better organists, become better in their techniques, and basically play whatever piece they want without too much struggle, right? That's how I basically practiced at the time and decided, well, that helps me, so why not I would share them with the world. So that's what I did. I started writing articles online in my blog, organduo.lt. And at first, before this blog, this organduo.lt was a site we created with my wife Oshra for promoting our organ duet playing activities, right? We were playing for 4 hands on the organ very actively, and we decided, we need some kind of online presence. And we created this website, organduo.lt. But then, as I said, it developed into something bigger. I started writing blog posts about how to solve people's problem in organ playing, you see. And it strangely enough, I received my first email subscriber, about 2 weeks after doing this. On January 7th, I think, yes, 7th was the first subscriber, then 8th, 9th, 10th, and so basically once a day I would receive one subscriber a day. It was really exciting time. I would set up my MailChimp account so that they would notify me when each subscriber would come, and I would celebrate, basically dance in joy that each subscriber noticed my writing, and I was so delighted that I could be helping them in email and videos later on. And they would watch my introductory video on how to master each composition. Perhaps you even looked at this yourself, and it's still available. You see, when somebody is joining my email mini course on how to play any piece, they would get the first email they would get from me. They would get this video on how to master any organ composition that they want, and I decided they would help. I would help them even more by providing 10-day mini course on various aspects of organ playing. So basically, when you take a new piece like this, you need to know many aspects in organ playing in order to master it, right? So the first thing we did was like master. I discussed how to analyze the piece, right, and discover how the piece is put together. Basically, think about how the composer thought. That was really helpful for people, because a lot of organists never pay attention to the structure of the piece, never pay attention to the harmony and melodic material and the rhythms. And I was working at the time on these techniques, how you could understand what the basically text and musical ideas mean in that particular piece that you are playing, and they really made me a better organist. You see, I was teaching and still teach music theory courses at National Čiurlionis School of Art in Vilnius, and I do a lot of work with air training and music theory, and at the time I still was teaching music analysis courses, you see, and we would analyze the pieces and basically deconstruct them and then put them back together. And I thought, wow, maybe that would be helpful for organists to know how a particular chorale prelude is constructed, and prelude and fugue is constructed, you see, and sonata, rondo, all those various forms. And people started responding like crazy. They would really be finding this information so helpful in their own practice. So I created this 10-day mini course in doing this. And basically, at the end of each article and towards the end, on the right side of my blog site at organ.lt, I would include basically email subscription form where people could literally enter their information and receive free training from me, and advice and tips and inspiration. Basically, enter my email mini course, become my student, so to say. And one by one, people started joining my newsletter and email course, and I was so delighted, because they would write me back whenever they would receive an article from me or an advice or an email. They would write me back, and it was unheard of. You see, whenever I subscribe to other bloggers, you see, they are very big and very busy, and they don't reply too much in their email for their email subscriber. But I was just starting out, and I had a lot of free time, and decided, maybe I should help people even more by providing feedback. And when people started replying, they would be telling about their problems and challenges and their dreams. And I would ask them about their dreams, what would you like to achieve in organ playing for maybe 3 to 6 months, right? And they would list me three problems, what stops them from achieving their dreams. And those answers actually served me to better understand their needs, and I will be writing articles on these specific answers and ideas. And this was like a snowball effect. The more I wrote, the more people joined my email course and became my students, right? So then around the end of March, I decided to take another step. Could I be helping them even more by, let's say, providing a piece of music, piece of like chorale prelude with specific fingering and pedaling, and even my specific practice schedule, so that if you open this practice guide and play it on day one, this would be like a practice guide where I could take them from day 1 to day 10, and they would be mastering this piece. Well, I thought that would be really helpful, and I created this particular practice guide for Ich ruf zu dir, Herr Jesu Christ. It made sense because in this free training I provided how to master any keyboard organ composition, I discussed this piece in detail. So I thought maybe it would be great if I provided a practice score with fingering and pedaling and my practice ideas. Yes, so on March 27th, I started to see, I launched this practice guide of Ich ruf zu dir, and this was very, very interesting. 10 people bought it actually from me. I made my first $100 this day because I decided to make a special announcement, and for 1 week or so I would provide like a 50% discount for this practice score, and I charged it like priced it at $10 with this discount, and about 10 people bought it. So I made $100 from my blogging online, and that was about after 4 months after I started writing articles. About 4 months into my blogging career, I made my first $100. This was the day where I realized, wow, this is really helpful for people because they are opening their wallets and are willing to pay for my advice and help. That's a very big leap for people, because a lot of people are finding my information helpful, but they're looking, reading and watching videos, but still they're not my clients and not customers. They are reading free information. But only very few people, minority of people, decide to take one step further and decide to pay me for my help in getting them results that they want to achieve in organ playing. So I was starting to wondering maybe I could provide even further help. Maybe other scores needed fingering and pedaling, and I started writing and pedaling and fingering myself in pieces that I was currently playing. Started creating video courses on that, basically trying to help the people reach their goals and overcome the challenges. And one by one, people started joining them, my email course, and that was really, really helpful. That was like stage 2 in my blogging career, where people started really buying the things that I provided for them. Stage 1 was like I provided free information, but stage 2 was like, oh, I could really make at least part-time income from this, right? If I do this for a long period of time. And yes, this started happening starting from March 2012. And wonderful things started happening at the same time. I made connections with people from all over the world and started making friends with them and, giving feedback, sharing ideas back and forth, reading other people's blogs, learning, failing miserably. Basically, sometimes I would offer people a piece of music to practice. I would sell a PDF score, and nobody would buy it. Nobody would be interested in it. Yes, I would spend tens of hours, by writing and fingering and pedaling entire week, for example, and nobody would buy. Nobody would be interested. Or in another case, I would be would go to church in the morning and think about the idea how can it help people today. Shoot myself playing some music or creating a workshop in a couple of hours, and at the end of the day I would launch it as a special course, and people would buy it. It would take me like a couple of hours to shoot this video in this case, and that would be successful. And in other case, I would spend hours and hours and hours with my work on this course, and nobody would buy it. You see, trial and error, and that's okay. And this kind of procedure is very beneficial. While you're doing this, you discover traps. Sometimes you discover things that people don't want from you. They are not interested. It's not helpful for them right now. But you learn from your own mistakes, basically. So it doesn't stop me from learning, from blogging, and just kept pushing through the challenges that I discovered on my way. My goal was basically to write one post a day, one helpful article, and post it on my blog so that people could really take action and apply into their practice, and maybe at the end of the day they would learn something. You see, that was my main idea at the time, and that was stage 2. Then stage 3 was something very interesting. In the summer of 2015, I was starting to get serious about this blogging activity. And over the course of months and years I was doing this, I was also following other bloggers and discovered that audio information is very powerful in the form of podcasting. You see, when somebody talks to you in your ear through MP3 recording, or you're listening to their voice online through interviews they're doing. It's like an internet radio show, podcasting. You can subscribe. And I was really drawn into this idea, because whenever people are podcasting, they're very, very intimately connecting with the audience through their voice and ideas. And I knew that it's a lot of work to create a high quality podcast and to get guests and speakers on the call. And I hesitated to start this, but you see, it was such a powerful idea that I could actually create my own radio show. Right? I didn't have to have a permission from nobody, from an institution, organization. Basically, I could do this myself. So I decided to give it a try. You see, I thought. A lot of people were using SoundCloud as a platform to host podcasts and then submit them to iTunes for further distributions. So I then thought maybe I could do this too. I signed up for a SoundCloud Pro account because the hosting would be unlimited and you could basically submit a lot of audio material there, and it would never go beyond the data limits with free account. So I decided to invest about $100 a year with them because, well, I thought maybe people would be interested in hearing my interviews with expert organist, expert musicologist, expert organ builder. But then the problem became apparent. How I will find those experts? It's very fascinating to talk to them, but I was really a small fish, you see, in the organ world at the time. And how I will, manage to convince people to join my podcast conversation and become guests. But then I thought, well, how many people do I know from the organ world who are really, really close to me, and I have a great connection with them, who helped me in the past, and maybe I can help them right now. Because what podcasting does, for me, I can create amazing content, right, for people to listen and to share ideas in audio format. But for my guest, it's an amazing exposure, right? Because at the time I was having like 2,000 subscribers, you see, and from 89 countries. I had this little map where my subscribers were in the world, and I thought maybe some people, some organists, some experts from the organ world would be, interested into hearing, into spreading their ideas through 89 countries, right? And I could provide that. I don't need any permission. So that was really, really eye-opening for me. I started contacting people, and the first 10 people I contacted were from my immediate network. My professors from my studies in the United States, from Eastern Michigan University, Dr. Pamela Reuter-Pienstra, from University of Nebraska-Lincoln, Dr. Quentin Faulkner with his wife, Mary Murrell, and George Ritchie from the same university, Gene Beatty, an organ builder who was a mentor for me during the studies. Basically, I was starting doing this, and I had even more people. You see, then I contacted a few organists, and some of them didn't reply, but a few people were very generous at the beginning, even when my podcast was new, Secrets of Organ Playing podcast was new. They decided it was worth, being generous and sharing ideas with the world. So people like that I could mention was Zize De Vries, a fabulous improviser. You should go out and check out his website, Zize De Vries. It's on Facebook too. He's on Facebook too. When he improvises, I think I listen and I think that Johann Sebastian Bach is resurrected in his playing. He can play in many variety of styles, but of course, Baroque style is probably favorite. So I decided to give it a try and contact him and if he can share these ideas about improvisation. And yes, he replied. It was one of the first guests on my podcast. You see, I was so delighted. He is such an expert, you see. And it was It was good for him because 89 countries, organists from 89 countries would, you see, listen. And SoundCloud has this fabulous feature when you can see the reports of where your audience is. In particular, you can even check the cities in the world where you can check out and see where your audience is located. For example, in America, where in each state, each city is your audience located. And after each show, I would sometimes, write back to my guests after a week or two and give them a little bit of report, how many listeners listened to the podcast, and downloaded the show, what comments, the helpful comments were, and most importantly, where they are located in the world. Because this information is priceless for them, because they could really make an organ concert tour in that particular country, in that particular city, if they know that a few people are gathering and listening to their ideas that they spread in my podcast conversation. So that was really, really helpful. Thanks, Darius, for joining this show. I'm so delighted you're watching. Great. Wonderful. So let's continue. So that was August 2015. That was like stage 3 of my blogging career when I opened this weekly podcast conversation show. And I still continue to do this to this day. And as I'm recording this, it's actually getting close to 100. The number of podcasts I have released so far is getting close to 100. So every week I would talk to an expert. Sometimes I would find an expert from social media, sometimes from my email subscribers list. Sometimes people would come to play recitals at my church, Vilnius University and John's Church. And I would ask them if they would like to be a guest on my podcast conversation. And a lot of people agreed to see, and I would, after the day of the recital in our church, I would invite them for a coffee, or we just meet on the organ bench, and I would put my cell phone, my smartphone on the bench. And we would start talking about their experiences as an organist, what challenges they were basically receiving in their organ playing days, what their dreams were, why they fell in love with the organ, those things. We were like having literally a cup of cappuccino together, sometimes literal cup of cappuccino, sometimes virtual. Whenever I talk to them via online services like Skype, Zoom, or Google Hangouts, then really people would be connecting with me on a personal level and talking about the things we both love and enjoy. Basically, thinking about like chat and cup of cappuccino. It's very informal, like I'm doing this with you. I know that, for example, a few people are watching, and I'm talking to you like my friend. That's how I usually talk to people, just like a friend. I would not memorize my questions. I would not write down anything. I just improvise my questions, improvise my conversation. And most of the time, my guests also would improvise. And in best case scenarios, this hour or half an hour we would talk and spend with each other time would go so fast we would even don't notice that we've been talking for half an hour or 1 hour. It was like a good organ recital when you sit in the pews in your church and listen to somebody play so well and so engagingly. You don't look at your watch, right? It's so powerful. And that's what in the best case scenarios we would be doing. Of course, there were a number of interviews where I had to really dig deep into questioning people, because sometimes people either not fluent in English, sometimes they are hesitant into opening up into personal conversation like this. And sometimes they are not good communicators, and sometimes they provide very short answers like yes, no, I don't know, these things. And that's not enough for a lively conversation. So I had to learn the skills of communicating. It was very scary at first, but I thought, what worse could happen? What bad things could happen? Nothing really. People could get offended very, very rarely. I was so so um, conscious that I was going to make them look good on the conversation. I would later add introduction about them, add a link to their website, make good things about them, say good things, and helpful feedback for them at the end. Basically, I was very supportive of what they're doing, regardless of whether I like their personal style of playing or not, regardless whether I like their approach to organ culture or not. I was kind of always willing to go that extra mile and, see the positive side in each person. And that paid off because those podcast conversations became very, very important in organ world. I was the first. I was the first to start doing these podcast interviews. Nobody else was doing this at the time, and still to this day, I don't know anybody who is doing this. Although it would be so powerful for any organist who is listening to me, just go out and interview the people that they, love, and not only organists, and people in other career and other fields, just to interview their network members. But you see, it's an investment. People have to understand that every day I think about how I can help people. This is my first idea, which helps me get out of bed in the morning. How can I help people today, right? And I think about this idea, and then I get up in the morning, right? Just before I getting up, I think about several ways. How can I help people today? And on a good day, I start helping people, right? And on a bad day, I stop helping people, watch TV, eat unhealthy food, and complain a lot. But I'm trying to work on it, and so that on fewer days I do this negative thinking and negative feeling, and more positive thinking, and especially taking action. So taking action was my number one probably skill that I learned during my 5 years of blogging. And every day I take action, every day. For example, yesterday I decided to write a chapter in my new book that is upcoming, empowering blogging, basically how blogging can empower myself and my readers. I'm slowly getting through this book, and I'm in chapter 2. It will be 10 chapters, and I hope that this little book will be tremendously valuable for people to see just like a regular person like me. I'm no wizard or tech person at all. I'm just an organist trying to help people in my field. But over those 5 years, I learned some new skills and became curious about new ideas and development that now I can even help further that are not related to organ playing at all. I can help empower people and empower themselves through blogging wherever they are. Not only organists. I can help them set up the blog, set up a podcast, start doing video training. I can do that because I did this myself. Before that, 5 years ago, I couldn't do this myself, but now I can teach new things. This is tremendously powerful, and you learn this by taking action. And another way that blog empowered me was to me, a lot of people started writing me into email. Can I go and play a recital at the church? Vilnius University, St. John's Church. This is the largest pipe organ in Lithuania with 64 stops, 3 manuals and pedals, and very mechanical action, very quite sophisticated to play, difficult to depress the keys. And as I was constantly recording my videos, myself playing and teaching at this console at St. John's Church. In fact, I am in the St. John's Church right now, just behind the altar in front of the church, recording this training to you right now. And people started noticing what I'm doing. People started noticing this fabulous organ that is currently standing at Vilnius University in John's Church. And little by little, I started creating my own little enterprise, my own platform. It all started in 2011 with those several articles I was posting a day at easyarticles.com, how to play the organ on those topics. But then they developed into something bigger, something more powerful, which is still being created to this day. But the main idea is that blogging really empowers people because they are helping others to help themselves. Because you see, a lot of people ask me, can you help me to learn how to play organ pedal? Or can you help me to learn how to sight read on the organ? Or can you help me in creating, colorful registration? Or can you help me in improvisation or hymn playing in those areas? Any area of organ playing that I had an experience with, I could help with. But that's not all. I started creating those trainings and articles and posts in a way that really helped people go the next step and start, helping themselves without my own help. I started empowering people. See? And sometimes they don't no longer need my help because they are advanced enough to help themselves and start helping others. That's the circle of trust and circle of help that they are getting from me, and they could share that the generosity that they got from me even further. So this basically idea keeps spreading to this day, and my current project is with Vidas Blog Academy, where I decided to take another step, stage 4, where I would share my experience in blogging world, like I'm sharing this with you today, and basically try to empowering people through blogging, because really blogging changed my life. Not only it provided me with part-time income. I no longer am dependent on any salary that I work. I still work as an organist at the university. I still am a teacher, at the National Organist School of Art. I still do these things as a normal person would do. But since blogging gave me the tools to help people, and in return they could pay me for my products and services, basically for getting results that they want. I am earning a part-time income. It's not a millionaire income, of course, but it's an income nonetheless. It's a diversification of income that gives you freedom. And I now have several sources of income. That's what blogging opened up for me. I'm really free to do what I want with my time. I could teach you today. I could teach you tomorrow. I could go to the beach today or to the beach tomorrow. I could blog from anywhere I want. That's what really blogging is about. It gives you lifestyle freedom. I'm recording this from my church, and right now at the organ, other people are practicing and helping others and training others. And I didn't have a lot of time, a lot of ideas what to do today. So I just went to the front of the church behind the altar, took out my smartphone, and started recording this training for you live on Facebook. And I thought, who can stop? Nobody can stop. I don't know. Is it helpful to you? If you're still watching, Maybe it is, maybe it's not. It's not for me to decide. But nobody can stop me from doing it. I don't have to ask permission to do this, to record this video. I don't have to, to go to the rector of Vilnius University, write a proposal and application to start recording live Facebook video. No, it would be crazy. I can just use the tools I want whenever I want, whomever I want. And I could record myself playing with the same camera I have in my pocket. And virtually every person that I know has this type of tool in their pocket. Virtual video publishing platform in their pocket. And these tools are sufficient enough and advanced enough so that they could be powerful and empowering people. So, but not every person, takes this another step and takes this leap, because in order to take initiative and take action and start blogging, start empowering yourself, you have to have a different mindset and different mentality. I would say that you are responsible for your own future and happiness, right? You cannot really trust and give your happiness and your future into the hands of others, into the hands of, as we say, gatekeeper. Let's say you want to play organ recital, right? In let's say in a cathedral, let's say in Paris, Notre Dame Cathedral, right? Every organist in the world is dreaming about it, and only very few organists can give. So what can you do, right? You can become friends with the titular organist there, become friends with Olivier Latry, with Philippe Lefebvre, with other people who are influencing them, and hope to really, one day be invited into organ recital or organ festival. That's how majority of people think. It's not the way it works. Nobody is going to pick you to play a recital at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris unless you have built a platform for yourself. Virtuosos who tour the world constantly, and they have won multiple organ playing competitions, right? Multiple prizes, and they have proven to the world they are worthy to be picked and placed as a recitalist in this famous cathedral, the best cathedral in the world for organ music, probably. That's one way, right? You can prove that you're worthy through competing in organ competition and winning. But another way, which is even more powerful today, because it doesn't require you to be picked from anybody, is by building your own online platform through the blog specifically. That's what I was doing it for more than 5 years. And it changed my life, right? A week ago, I received an invitation to play an organ recital at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris in 2019, in 2 years from now. You see, they have a long waiting list. And this would not be possible at all if I was just a simple organist who wanted to spam people writing proposals. Oh, please pick me. I'm a good organist. Can I play an organ recital at your cathedral? No, nobody would pay attention to me, to what I can do. Even if I could play well, there are thousands of organists in the world who can play better than me. But since I have been building my platform for myself and for others via those podcast conversations and my online guests, I was starting empowering people, and guess what? People starting noticing and paying attention. And now I have this opportunity to go and play, to play a recital in 2 years at the most famous cathedral for organists in the world, Paris Notre Dame Cathedral in France. That's a dream come true, right? For a lot of people. A few months ago, I received an invitation with my wife Oshra to go and play an organ duet recital at the St. Paul's Cathedral in London. That's another magical drawing place for tourists and for organists alike in London. This will happen in 2018, in 1.5 years from now, in the summer. So again, this would not be possible without my online activities. So Oshra was also joining me in my blogging activities too, because, as I said, organduo.lt was first created as our organ duet promotional website. Later I started blogging my online myself, and later on, recently Oshra was also joining me and writing. We've been alternating posting articles with each other, basically. One day I would post, another day would Oshra post, something like that. And we would play duets, would promote our videos together. So not only I was empowering myself, but Oshra was empowering herself too. So I decided to help people even further by creating this academy, you see, where people, specifically organists, can start changing their life and changing their lives through the blog specifically. Because that's what I've been doing for 5 years now, and in the course of those years, I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of things didn't resonate. A lot of blog posts didn't go anywhere. A lot of products that I sold didn't sell a thing. A lot of podcasts were not, successful in a way that they didn't resonate with people. Sometimes I would write to guests of my podcast, and they wouldn't reply me. Yes, it's trial and error, and you only succeed when you fail a lot. So I like to fail a lot. I like to make my own mistakes, and I like to say that the person who fails the most wins. So if you fail more than me, you will win. If I will fail more than you, then I will win on this. Yes. So every day I'm trying to fail. So today I'm failing in front of you. I'm risking my own reputation and sharing my generous ideas with the world. And maybe this is a success, maybe failure. I don't know. It's not for me to decide. So thank you so much for watching this training for you today. I hope this opened eyes for you. What kind of what blogging specifically can do for you, what it has done for me, how it changed my life, and how it can change your life too. This is Vidas Pinkevičius. If you haven't seen my video course on how to get more opportunities to play more organ recitals in 60 days or less, using my exact blogging system that helped me to get invited to play recitals, among other places, to Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris and St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Using my exact system, I can teach you how to do this yourself. Blogging has changed my life, empowered me, and I hope it can empower you too. So you can sign up for this free mini course for 10 days in a row at vidaspinkevičius.com. If you haven't done already, this is vidaspinkevičius.com, and there you will find a special menu item called free gift. Click on that and you can subscribe and become a student of this blogging system. That will teach you everything you need to know to get more opportunities to play organ recitals. Okay, this is Vidas signing off. Until the next time. Bye-bye. If you liked this conversation, I encourage you to visit my blog Secrets of Organ Playing at organduo.lt, where you will find lots of insights, practical advice and training for every area of organ playing. You can subscribe to this blog for free to get your daily dose of inspiration and to be the first to know when any of my future podcasts roll out. I hope to help you reach your dreams in organ playing. I'm Vidas Pinkevičius. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you online really soon.